Where Eagles Dare, 1968, Richard Burton and Clint Eastwood. This doesn't get nearly enough love in the history of action movies, or of Clint Eastwood movies for that matter. It's a tense thriller that takes its time getting to the action parts.
Stealth and secrecy, our only hope.
The movie follows a crack team of MI6 agents and a lone American assassin sent to infiltrate a German castle. What they're not told in advance is that the castle is the headquarters for a massive German training base.
Training troops come and go all the time. What are 6 new faces among 600 new faces?
It's presented as a men-on-a-mission movie, but the men are getting assassinated right and left, leaving fewer and fewer experts to extract the American general who could easily betray all he knows about the Second Front in Europe to the Nazis. Meanwhile, the German High Command and the Gestapo hate each other's guts, and the agents are unsure if their own loins, tempted by Hammer vixen Ingrid Pitt and indie film actress Mary Ure, are worth more than king and country.
I thought you loved me.
Can't help what you think.
Burton remains enigmatic throughout. We are sure for the first hour that he is the villain, but the movie teases us long into its runtime about whose side anybody is on. The castle can only be reached via a long gondola ride. Nothing builds tension for me like a good gondola ride. I ride the Skyway multiple times a year at the LA County Fair. I love the 20-minute ride at Nanping 360 in Hong Kong. I miss the Skyway to Tomorrowland at Disneyland. You show me a good gondola and I'm on it. And partly that's because they are utterly terrifying. Off the top of my head, I can name multiple suspense scenes in gondolas. Admittedly, 3 of them are in James Bond movies, and the one in Moonraker is a bit cheesy, but these are scenes where you know things could get really ugly just because of gravity, and now there's someone who wants to kill you in a tiny space, plus there's gravity.
I got on this chairlift with this guy I didn't know. He went halfway up the mountain without saying a word. Then he turned to me and said, this is the first time I've been skiing in 10 years. He said I was in jail. And I said, all right, you better tell me why. And he said, I pushed a total stranger off a Ferris wheel. I said, I remember you.
I saw Where Eagles Dare for the first time on one of those Sunday afternoon network movie shows, and the fight between Richard Burton and a couple of spies on the gondola was burned into my brain. A guy getting pickaxed in the arm while clinging to the side of a gondola thousands of feet above the alpine snow was terrifying. But I am a sucker for any action thriller in the snow. Pale Rider, The Grand Silence, the midsection of Django Unchained, Sword of Swords, The Chinese Boxer, Lady Snowblood. Maybe it's that splash of red on white. Maybe it's the quiet of snowy days in the mountains. I must mention that this movie appears to be the direct inspiration for the
14 Fists of McCluskey,
Tarantino's fictitious 60s action film starring Rick Dalton.
Anybody order fried sauerkraut?
Thought I shot a lot of people with a 6-shooter. You should see how we can do with a machine gun in a film like this.
A lot of killing, a lot of killing.
He's tall and slow and drawly, sort of a la Gary Cooper, and I'm short and thick and fast-talking.
When they filmed Where Eagles Dare, Richard Burton was at the apex of his Hollywood career. Eastwood was intimidated by the Burton-Taylor entourage and their private jets. Burton, however, let his personal demons drag him into a downward spiral in the filming. Eastwood, on the other hand, considered every job possibly his very last. He stipulated that he wanted very few lines, and the ones he gets here are terse and well-earned.
Have a lot of women stashed around this country, Major.
Reviews have complained that he's a one-note killing machine in this movie, but you can sympathize with him as a professional who's been tricked into a suicide mission and does not appreciate that at all.
Do me a favor, will you? Next time you have one of these things, keep it an all-British operation.
I'll try, Lieutenant.
If this film does have a fault, it's the characters' motivations, which are emphasized but are never quite resolved. Some Brits betray their country to the Nazis, but we never really know why. The 2 women risk their lives, one showing herself quite handy with a machine gun, but what they'll get out of all this is pretty vague. But we're constantly demanded to know why Eastwood and Burton and the women, and the captured American general, are doing the things they do, and we never quite know why beyond duty.
You must be mad.
If I wasn't, what would I be doing in this job?
The movie is a slow burn, only getting to the action well over 90 minutes in. And the action is fantastic. It makes its contemporaries blush. When it gets there, it's a serious pickaxe to the arm.